What if you could go back in time? Not to get rich, not to meet a legend, but to stop a bullet. One bullet that changed everything. It's 1963. John F. Kennedy's motorcade turns down Dealey Plaza. The crowd cheers, the sun is shining, and a man named Jake Epping is running out of time because history doesn't want to be changed. And when you try, it fights back. Welcome to Story Digest, where books unfold like movies and every twist hits like it's happening to you. Today's story begins with a diner, a doorway, and a man who's given the impossible task: stop one of the darkest days in American history before it ever happens. But time doesn't like to be messed with, and every step toward the past has a cost. This is 11/22/63 by Stephen King, a time travel thriller filled with love, loss, and the brutal truth about fate. Let's begin. Jake Epping is an English teacher in small-town Maine. It's 2011. He grades essays, eats frozen dinners, and keeps his regrets bottled up. Then one day, Al, the owner of the local diner, drops a bombshell. There's a door in the back of his restaurant, a very special door. Step through it and you're not in Maine anymore. You're in 1958. Same spot, same time, every time. Al's been using it for years, living a second life in the past. But now he's dying, and he wants Jake to take over his unfinished mission, something he couldn't complete before the cancer caught up with him. That mission? Stop the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Because if Kennedy lives, maybe Vietnam doesn't happen. Maybe Bobby lives. Maybe the 60s don't spiral into chaos. Maybe the world can be better. But there's a catch. You can go back as many times as you want, but every trip resets the timeline. Everything you did before? Gone. You start from scratch, again and again. Jake doesn't believe it until he steps through. It's September 9th, 1958. The world smells like gasoline and tobacco. Elvis is still on the radio, and the future hasn't happened yet. Jake's mission is clear: survive 5 years, stay under the radar, and stop Lee Harvey Oswald from pulling the trigger in 1963. But first, he needs to test the rules. So he runs a small test, a local tragedy that Al mentioned. A janitor's father killed his entire family in a drunken rage. Can Jake stop it? Yes, he does. But time doesn't like that. Reality pushes back, hard. Accidents, coincidences, strange malfunctions. The more he tries to change, the more resistance he meets. It's like the past is alive and angry, and that's just the beginning. Jake realizes he can't be careless. He needs a plan. So he heads south, down to Texas, the heart of his mission. He settles in the small town of Jody, takes a job as a teacher, rents a room, buys a used car, creates a new identity, George Amberson. And for a while, it almost feels like a normal life. That's when he meets Sadie Dunhill, the school librarian. She's smart, awkward in a charming way, a little damaged from her past. Jake tries to keep his distance. He can't afford attachments. But Sadie, she's the one crack in his wall. They fall in love. Slowly, then all at once. It's not part of the plan, but it feels like home. Still, the clock is ticking. Jake begins trailing Lee Harvey Oswald, the man who, in 2 years, will pull the trigger in Dallas. Jake tracks his movements, bugs his apartment, records his fights with his wife Marina. He watches Oswald spiral deeper into obsession, into politics, into rage. The man isn't just dangerous, he's unstable, narcissistic, driven. Jake starts to doubt. What if Oswald didn't act alone? What if he's a pawn in something bigger? But there's no room for error. Jake can't stop a conspiracy. He can only stop a man. And time isn't making it easy. Everything starts going wrong. His surveillance equipment malfunctions. A freak accident nearly kills him. He's beaten within an inch of his life by local thugs and barely survives. When he wakes up, he has a limp and a cloudy memory. His plan is in pieces. Even Sadie pulls away. She knows he's hiding something. He's lying to her, pushing her out, and she's not stupid. Jake finally breaks. He tells her the truth about the door, the future, the mission. Sadie doesn't believe him. Until she does. Until she sees too much to deny. She stays. Together, they limp toward the finish line. Dallas. The day of the assassination. Jake and Sadie are there near the Texas School Book Depository. They know what's coming. They know where Oswald will be. But the universe isn't done with them yet. Traffic jams, broken elevators, locked doors. Every step is a struggle. The timeline resists. Jake pushes forward, bleeding, limping, desperate. Oswald is in the 6th floor window. The motorcade turns the corner. The clock is almost at 0. Jake charges into the building. Oswald raises the rifle. Jake tackles him. A shot fires, but it misses. The crowd screams. Secret Service agents scatter. JFK ducks just in time. Jake beats Oswald. The police storm in. The assassination is stopped. History is changed, but not without cost. Sadie was shot during the scuffle. She bleeds out in Jake's arms. He saved the president and lost the love of his life. Jake returns to 2011, back through the diner portal. But the world is wrong. The diner is gone. The streets are cracked. Buildings are ruined. America is a wasteland. In stopping the assassination, he unraveled something bigger. JFK lived, yes, but his survival set off a chain reaction of unintended consequences. Global tensions rose. Nuclear arms escalated. Earthquakes, wars, economic collapse. The world ended not with a bang, but with Jake's decision. He's devastated. The mission failed in the worst possible way, so he goes back. One last time, he resets the timeline. He lets Kennedy die. Jake returns to the present, the real present. Everything is back. The diner, the streets, the people, and Sadie is alive. But she's old now. Her life played out without him. He finds her at a celebration. She's a guest of honor, sharp, still graceful, a woman who lived a full life. Jake watches her from a distance. She doesn't recognize him. She never knew him. And that is enough. He saved her. Not by rewriting her story, but by letting it happen. He had the power to change history. But in the end, the hardest thing was knowing when not to. This was 11/22/63, a haunting, heart-wrenching thriller about love, loss, and the weight of time. In the end, he saved the president, but lost the woman he loved. And when he tried to fix that too, the world unraveled. Some stories ask what we'd change if we had the chance. This one asks what we're willing to lose. Thanks for watching Story Digest. If this story moved you, leave a like, hit subscribe, and drop a comment. What moment in time would you change if the universe let you? Until next time, stay curious, and don't look back too long.